Yes, we will start at 5:50, that is 12:20 GMT. Hello, Diksha, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So we'll start in a minute. So hello everyone, my name is Tirthara Chaudhary and I welcome you all to this event. So it will happen in three folds. That is, first, the apolitical pipeline, that is our organization, will give you a brief overview of the course that we have made, which covers different aspects of sustainability that can be connected to commercial law, thereby upholding different human rights under environmental law. And then we will move on to Mr. Joel Iboa, who will be representing African Network of Young Leaders for Peace and Sustainable Development. And he will have his part of the presentation. And eventually, we will move on to Climate Social Forum's part of the presentation. So moving on, the reason we started making this course about the interconnection between sustainability and different forms of commercial law is that we realized while studying environmental law that environmental law in itself may sound very good and the goals may be very great, but the problem to achieve those goals lies in connection with commercial law. That is, there are many big corporations that function across the globe which have different ways of evading the environmental regulations that are presented in different countries and that are binding internationally, and those things can be handled by making commercial law a bit more stringent and having taking some help from different commercial laws that connect the different states throughout the world. What commercial laws can be used, how they can be used, and how they will be helpful. is mentioned in the course, and for which the link to the registration of that course will be posted in the chat soon. In the meantime, my colleague Diksha will be telling you about which topics of commercial law we have gone through in the course and how uh, those topics may help, how those angles of commercial law help. I move on to you, Diksha.
Thank you so much, Tirtharaj. Greetings, everyone. I'm Diksha Sharma, the co-founder of the Political Pipeline. So basically, we would be talking about the interconnections of commercial and economic law with sustainability targets. So as you can see on your screens, we would be talking about shareholder activism. One thing to keep in mind is that our course right now focuses on Africa. And within 3 months, we would be releasing one more focusing on small island developed states. So we are basically targeting vulnerable populations and vulnerable countries so as to provide them with equip them with adequate legal resolutions against climate change and environment destruction. So we would be focusing on shareholder activism, securities law, competition law, and as you can see, international investment law, to name a few. But due to the paucity of time, we would be only discussing 2 to 3 topics in detail. The following speakers would be doing that. And in the meantime, if any of you hasn't registered for the course, um, I'll just send the course link in the chat right now, and you can do it. It's free and it's open to all, and also it's accessible to all because we've kept it open to all different studies of different studies, and not just only open to law students or law professionals. So we've kept it as diverse as possible. So I hope that you enjoyed the course, and I hope that you enjoyed the event today. Thank you.
I would welcome Nishant to start with his part.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Nishant Tiwari, and I'll be speaking about shareholder activism. With its very basic introduction, shareholder activism as a concept, it emerged in the 1970s and 1980s. Then it was treated as corporate raiding because it was mainly seen in negative light. It was not seen in positive light because companies obviously did not want shareholder activists to interfere in the managerial capacity. But then with Coleman, when he wrote in American Journal of Sociology, he introduced the concept of social capital. And after that, John Elkington, in his journal, he solidified the concept further from social capital to triple bottom line, that is ESG. ESG stands for environmental ethics, social responsibility, in line with proper social governance. So, as I've also mentioned, SRI is socially responsible investment. That it is done by the companies keeping in line with the social objectives, keeping in line with the environmental ethics for sustainable development goals. Also, as it has been graphically represented on the screen, there are various types of shareholder activism, by which the shareholder activists they keep on focusing to make their demands be met by the companies and their managers. Teetraj, can we have the next slide, please? Thank you. So this slide discusses the impact of COVID-19 on shareholder activism. It has to be understood that shareholder activism, more than being a theoretical concept, it is more of a practical concept. And instead of being a whole bubble, it's in pouches and bags. So it's different in every part of the economy. And because it's different in every part of the economy, that is why it varies with demands of consumers. It varies with business model that country has been following. And that is why in COVID-19, this is a consolidated graph that we see of shareholder activism as has been graphically represented. So it has been increasing from consecutive years, 2016 to 17 to 18 to 19. In 2020, in quarter one and quarter two, it grew. In quarter three and quarter four, it went on blank flat because obviously because of lockdown that was imposed as COVID-19 consequence, the companies faced zero profits. And that is why there was no shareholder activism because of morality also. Shareholder activists did not want to impose their demands when the companies were going through tough times. But now, as the effects of COVID-19 subsides, the shareholder activists will start asking the companies what were their response to medicinal growth, what were their response to social change, what were their response to demand for human rights. Can we have the next slide, please? Thank you so much. Narrowing down to South Africa. In South Africa, ESG and CSR, the corporate social responsibility, and the effect of shareholder activism thereon hasn't been so great. And these are the various factors that are the main stokes that have been barring the growth of shareholder activism therein. First being illiteracy and unawareness. People in South Africa, it has been estimated that 78% of the children there, fourth graders, they lack in speaking basic national language. There are 8 out of 10 students who cannot understand the financial literacy, and that is the level with which the development of education in South Africa is slow. People are unaware of their rights with corporate sector, and also, as I told, that shareholder activism, more than being a theoretical concept, is a practical concept, and that is why shareholder activism, it depends upon the shareholder activists. It is their standard benchmark of what they want to do, how much they want to involve themselves in. So lack of will and coordination among shareholder activists is the main reason that ESG hasn't been making much growth in South Africa. Then being mining sector is very much prevalent in South Africa as it is, and that is why their rights are anyway suppressed, because people want the South African population to stay engaged in mining. They do not allow them to come out and grow in the corporate world itself. And lastly, technological, managerial, and organizational backwardness. The collaboration of government and the private sector together in making this a collective objective of both the sectors is the main hurdle in making this ESG, CSR, and shareholder activism a major success in South Africa as such. Now I'll call on my colleague, Rishi, to carry on with the presentation. Thank you so much, Sitraj.
Thank you so much, Nishant. Rishi, over on to you.
Thank you, Nishant, for that brilliant presentation. I I send my greetings to all the distinguished guests who are present here today with us. I would like to take this further and discuss environment laws through 3 slides that I have prepared. Could we please bring them on? Yes. So the first slide of mine discusses about this company. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, the Pacific Gas and Electricity. This is a company based in America. This company has had a criminal past when it comes to environment. It has committed atrocities against environment. Now, these are the 6 photos which show the 6 crimes this company has committed in this decade. This company was held liable for a sum of a total of $30 billion. However, they decided to take the help of Chapter 11 bankruptcy, a bankruptcy code in the United States, which allows a company to reorganize its business activities in such a way that the interest of creditors is kept alive and also the company keeps on operating. However, this harms the environmental perspective of the environmental perspective, which I will discuss in the second slide. I like to call this as the clash of legislation. The bankruptcy laws are designed to protect the interests of companies who are going bankrupt, whereas keeping the interests of creditors in mind. However, environment laws are inherently designed to protect the environment, conserve the environment, and penalize those who commit atrocities on environment. The clash comes when a bankrupt company or a company claiming to be bankrupt decides to cause harm to the environment. In that case, where do we go? So me being a student of law and having utmost faith in the judiciary, I will always side towards the judicial interpretations, and I will always take the help of courts to keep environment law at bay with bankruptcy law. While we need to respect the company's finances, we cannot ignore the fact that the company has caused atrocities against the environment. And that is where the judiciary plays a crucial role. With this, I will come to my final slide, which is in the form of a question. Can security laws be used to ensure sustainability? I answer this in the positive, and I'll take case laws or case studies of 2 different countries, my own country, India, and South Africa. In India, we already have a securities regulator by the name of Securities and Exchange Board of India. It has enough powers to punish a company who involves and indulges in unfair trade practices. Now, this is where judicial interpretation yet again comes into play. If judiciary can use the power of its interpretation and widen the scope of the term unfair trade practices and involve all those activities which cause harm to the environment, then we can definitely penalize the companies and we can for the crimes they commit against environment. However, in a country like South Africa, where you do not have one uniform security regulator, but you have plethora of legislation, they can definitely help us in penalizing companies who engage in committing atrocities against the environment. We can use political will to expand the powers of certain certain positions who can penalize these companies to make sure that environment, the sustainability of environment and the sustainable goals of UN are achieved. With this, I end my presentation. Thank you to all.
Thank you so much, Rishi, for your part. Now, as we are done with giving a brief overview of the course that we have developed, I would like to call on the mic Mr. Joel Iboa, as he is the Secretary General of the organization we have developed this course with. Mr. Iboa, you may now take the stage.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tarash. Thank you very much to all for being here. So I'm Joel Eboa, I'm the Secretary General of African Network of Young Leaders for Peace and Sustainable Development. That is a platform that's working throughout Africa and mobilizing civil society and youth for peace building and then sustainable development. So I'm going to talk about the New Deal for Nature and People, because when we are talking about the commercial sustainability and the commercial law, is also about the New Deal for Nature and People. That is all about the post-2020. Next. So why we need a New Deal for Nature and People? So we all know that our planet is collapsing. With 1 degree Celsius temperature increase since pre-industrial times, most ecosystems struggle at 2% degree warming. And we have also a mass extinction. The first since the disappearance of dinosaurs, and the first driven by humankind. So 60% of our decline in vertebrate population size, and between 1970 to 2014. Next. So yes, the heart is in crisis, and at the current rate of the current loss, we are treating with the extinction of up to 1 million species, many within decades, and major loss of food and water security. So it has also economic cost. So the cost of ecological degradation on the loss of productivity will be staggering something like $24 trillion per year per America. That is the report of IPBS. Next. Yes. So the double biodiversity collapse. So we are facing a double biodiversity collapse. So extinction, as I've already explained, plus population decline. So we should work too hard and reverse the loss of nature. That is really vital for achieving the sustainable development goals by 2030. And we know all that we are in the last decade. So the progress toward 80% of measurable sustainable development goals target is threatened by current negative trends in biodiversity and ecosystems. So you have here some of the goals that I have highlighted that are really, please don't move. that I've highlighted. We have, for instance, goal 1, goal 8, 13, and goal 3, goal 6, goal 11, goal 7, goal 9, goal 2, goal 12. So they are basically linked to the New Deal for Nature and People, since they are those goals that sustain, they are really key, the sustainable development goals. So we can go to next slide. So our food system is single biggest threat to nature today. So we have a full food production system that is really unsustainable, and also current agricultural method leading to loss of production base. And we know that many of the company are really at the cause, yes, of this negative way to make agriculture. So we have really to rethink our system of production and also of consumption if we would like here to reverse the trends. Next. So, but there is hope. If we, no stay. There is hope if we do understand the intersection between natural loss and the current crisis, because I should say that the crisis, even migration that we are facing and conflicts are linked with the nature loss and nature degradation, because sometimes people seek another good way, a good land where to live. So they are going, yes, to fight with another community, and it is like that we have conflict, and people migrate here to have a better way of living. So basically, all the problems that the world is facing, even the current crisis as the pandemics, they are linked to nature loss and nature degradation. So you understand how the nature degradation and nature loss has an increase, a really important impact on the achievement of sustainable development goals. So the 2020 and 2030 decades should be the super decade for the planet, and we need to start reversing these scopes. First scope is the curve of climate change, and then the next curve that should the next curve that also should be reversed. I mean, that should increase is the curve of biodiversity. Next. Climate change should to decrease and biodiversity increase. So we invite you to join the New Deal for Nature and People Coalition, and also the course on sustainability and commercial law. And we think that it is something that we need to take as a generation and as young people. If you want really to contribute, is the reason why having this course on sustainability and commercial law will help many youth to understand the role they can play, to very well understand how mechanism functions legally, and to join also the New Deal for Nature. We are going to see the next slide here, what's the New Deal for Nature and People Coalition. So the New Deal for Nature and People Coalition is a platform of, for the moment, over 500 organizations and network led by African Network of Young Leaders for Peace and Sustainable Development, which is working with several organizations as worldwide fund for nature and people to make possible the nature positive vision. So our vision is nature positive. We would like the nature to be positive, meaning to halt and reverse the catastrophic loss of biodiversity and put nature on the path of recovery. So we are based, or this idea is based on 2 points. Human beings in affected and threatened areas are at the centers of concerns to address ecosystem degradation, climate change, conflict, and forced migration. And ecosystem degradation, climate change conflicts needs to be solved joint actions of civil society, governments, private sector, international community that's really needs for restoration. Next. So the path toward the New Deal for Nature and People, we need all stakeholder impact, because the crisis that's affecting us is not an isolated crisis. It concerns us all, mostly the young people who are the future and also the children. It's the reason why we have chosen this platform to talk about it and also to introduce discourse on sustainability and the commercial law. So for us to reach the vision that is with this vision, you will really require to have argument and cases-based science and also economy. We need non-state movement, civil society, organization, public business, finance, indigenous community, and subnational. There are many people who do not, for the moment, understand, and it is our role to make them understand. So we need also state in that process. So when we're talking about the state, we are talking about the minister. In all countries, we have ministers, but the action should not be only on the hand of the Ministry of Environment, as we used to see in many countries. So we should have a kind of joint action of all the ministry. We have drafted last year, yes, some position paper where we asked government to really ensure the leadership by making that ministries, all the ministry work toward the ecosystem restoration and also protection. So we need, for the New Deal for Nature and People, we need also a complementary decision. States have already taken many decisions. We need complementary decision to make that happen, because we have only 1 decade. And so we are going then to protect and restore nature. Next. So for the nature positive vision by 2030, these are the vision, as I already said, to have reverse the catastrophic loss of biodiversity and put nature on the path of recovery. And the problems, I'm going to make a kind of summarize. The problems are linked to massive destruction of natural species, catastrophic loss of species, biodiversity of life, unsustainable production and consumption of natural resources. And we should fix the goal. So countries should fix the goal, and also stakeholders should work toward the follow-up of those goals. So the goal should be to protect and restore nature's habitat, to the safeguard of diversity of life, and halve footprint of production and consumption. So this will lead to these solutions. Protect at least 30% and sustainably manage the rest of the life, work to restore natural habitat, recognize indigenous people, land and water rights. The solution should be also to halt human-induced extinction, recover species population, stop unsustainable wide exploitation and trade. We were talking about trade. And also another category of solution should be to transition to sustainable practices. For instance, food system, agriculture, fishing, forestry, infrastructure, and extractive. So I should say that these are packages of a solution, and we need innovation to make that these packages of a solution come alive. So the benefit will be for all. So we will have this benefit if we implement really the New Deal for Nature and People by 2030, the water for 9 billion persons, food for 9 billion of persons, biodiversity of life, good quality of life, and then a stable climate. Next. Yes, this is to join the coalition. So we have several platforms where we are operational. So you can join to check and see what we have been doing so far, and join our YouTube, Facebook, and a Twitter channel. I'm going to release also in the chat. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you so much, Mr. Iboa, for the presentation. Now I would like to welcome Climate Social Forum with the first speaker to move on with the presentation.
Thank you, Tita Rashad, and thank you, the Political Pipeline, for inviting me. I'm Domenico Vito, and I'm coordinator of the Climate Social Forum. Next slide, please. So we are a delegation, so with me there is also Irene Abra and Asa Guerreschi from the organization team. Then we have me on the presentation. Next slide, please. So what is Climate Social Forum? Just a brief story. After the postponement of COP26, that was supposed to have a pre-COP negotiation also in Italy, a lot of us have remained like a little bit sad and worried about that. And so we decided to come up with a virtual agora in order to continue to foster the discussion among the different crises that also already we have seen are very interconnected. So social, climate, environmental, and health crisis. So next slide, please. So we create this virtual agora, also envisioning and taking inspiration from the Latin American Manifesto on Climate that we see on the first slide. The idea was to create a participatory process that was dealing and was helping to interconnect experts, activists, young leaders, and so on and so forth, in order to talk and continue foster the climate action and discussion. We act on what we referred climate action path that are referring to the SDG schema. So next slide, please. So basically, the process of Climate Social Forum was to create a sort of documents that were made in a participatory process. So we share a Google Doc together during the virtual session that was filled with the inputs of the participant for each session. After that, we collect all the inputs track by track in order to come out with the output documents, one for each governance level, so local, global, and national level. We are also come out with other documents, proceedings, and so on. You can find out there on our website that are now on publishing. So next slide, please. Yes, based on that, we are fostering participation, and to do this, we are using some frameworks, particularly the Talanoa dialogue. That is also a methodology that is assessed in international negotiation. Talanoa is a traditional methodology that comes out from the indigenous culture of Fiji, and it's based on three questions that are where we are, so which is the state of art of the problem, where do we want to go, so which is our goal, and how do we want to get there, so the method and strategy. These are the basic questions that can be also mapped on the sociocracy methodology, that is one of the decision-making and structural organizational participation process on some of that concepts that you can see on the right side of the slide. Basically, we can say that the where we are question is based on transparency, where do we want to go is based on equivalence and transparency, and how do we get there is equivalence, transparency, and efficiency, also because we want to measure the progress inside it. This is like the base on which we foster the Climate Social Forum. Next slide, please. So as I said before, we are producing some documents after the Climate Social Forum that happened during the 14 to 20 of December 2020. We are collecting all the speech in a written form of all the participants and guests of the Climate Social Forum in a book of proceedings that soon will be available on our website. And as I said before, we are developing the common documents coming from this participatory process as output documents of the Climate Social Forum, once for its governance level, local, national, and global. Next slide, please. Now the floor to Irene.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you all. My name is Irene. And as you can see from the slide, we prepared a conceptual scheme where we identify the primary needs, the main strategy, and the main resources. So matching the Climate Social Forum tracks, we identified that the primary needs are food supply, service supply, good health, community, and knowledge. And then the main strategy that we're going to use are economic, the ecosystem services, the energy supply that is going to be, for example, the energy transition, and the carbon pricing, which is also one of the tracks that also presented in the program. And then following on, the main resources that we also use are the natural resources, so a sustainable use, and the shared values, which are education, philosophy, and religion, which are the shared values and policies also as well of the Climate Social Forum. So next slide, please. So yeah, following what I said before, Climate Social Forum is based on different principles, which are listening principle, which is also very important since it's important to follow everyone's opinion. And also as a group ideal, as a group approach, it's very important also to support individual opinion. That inclusiveness principle, which is also linked to the listening principle, which is also to, we can say, acknowledge the fact that everyone's opinion matters, and also to understand that everyone's opinion also reach and also help in the reaching of the final goal and or on the final solution or decision. Then the trust principle, which is also important to acknowledge that it's not about who is going to reach the goal before or after, but also to be aware of the fact that we are going to reach the goal together. Then the principle on focus on the solution, which also mean to have a clearer goal on what we are going to do and how we are going to do it. And then the generativity principle, which also to link to the debate and discussion, which also help in the delivery of the message and also help in finding the solution or the decision. And then time principle, which also aim to respect everyone's time, but also to we can say declare and also keep in mind the internal and external deadlines that as a group we have shared. So as also Pope Francesco said, they're all on the same boat. Only if we remain together, we could prevent the storm from happening. Next slide, please. So reaching, as I said before, the program was about for 1 week. So it started from the 14th December to 20th December, and it was prepared 12 tracks, which you can see also here from the list. And each of the tracks was based on 3 main points, which are information, problem, and solutions. So as you can see also from here, below the slide, there is also a link where you can find all the information regarding the tracks. So please, next slide. Now I will leave on to Asia. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Asia. So yes, as you've seen, we've had quite a lot of information, and we've making this output document. But this actually comes back from we have a community, we have a Facebook group. You are more than welcome to take part in it. We share links, we share information, and you got a chance also to exchange what is our own experience also in the tracks that Irene mentioned. We have a Facebook page. And with the Facebook page, you also get to see and go back all the lives and all the links that are also linked to the website, as Irene and Domenico mentioned. Next slide, please. If you would like to collaborate, we would be very happy. We have also upcoming events. So the way you can do it is that you can volunteer. That's how also me and Irene took part in all of this, and we organized with Domenico is also making sure that everything works the way it should. And you can volunteer with content. You can volunteer as a speaker. You can volunteer also as a sponsor. So our personal organizations can take part as well. And it's an opportunity to exchange not only content and experience, but also our personal stories and missions that we also engage in every day in making sure that information in our planet, the general mission of also why we're here today. Next slide, please. Exactly, so these are particular links. The YouTube is very important because not only does the Facebook page include all the live sessions, but we've had also add-ons, as we've called them, so interviews on the side and also personal presentations that were not streamed live, but that experts in particular and participants included and shared with us, and you can definitely check them out. I welcome you to also follow us not only on social media, but if you do want to collaborate, we have a Gmail, and our Slack community is also as our Facebook community. You get to join in, get your input. And we are looking forward to have the forum again this year, and we have upcoming projects. So please make sure to get in contact with us, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, everyone. Yes, Mr. Sheikh, anything else you wanted to add?
No, sorry, I was going to say I pass the word back to you. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much. So yes, we are done with this event basically. And if anyone has any questions, they are welcome to ask in the chat box. Also mention in the chat box are the different email IDs and different social media links of all three of the organizations. While that goes on, in the last few minutes, I would like to play one video from the channel of Climate Social Forum. And here it goes. In the meantime, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask in the chat box. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Iboa, and thank you to all the speakers of Climate Social Forum. With this, we end the event. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank
Titraj, we
you.
have one question, and I believe that's addressed to Nishant.
Okay.
So it's about do you think that shareholders' vision can be connected to participatory methods? Nishant, are you there?
Yes.
Yes, I'm here.
So
Ji, could
Nishant,
you please repeat the question?
Do you think that shareholders' vision can be connected to participatory methods?
Thank you so much for your question. Although I would rather make it very clear, I do not understand in what context has participatory methods been used here. But I'd rather say that there are various things that shareholder activists are doing there. As I told that there were proxy votes, there is litigation, there is social media. They are using various methods to get their needs enforced through managerial committees and the company, because as I was also telling, the stance has changed. Back then, shareholder activists in the 1970s, they did not understand what responsibility was on their shoulder actually. But today, as we are seeing, we have seen in the cases of ITC, Indian Tobacco Company, we have seen in the case of Apple. So there have been many instances where shareholder activists are not only increasing their hold in the company, but are also increasingly participating in the decision-making power. But yes, as this question goes, their vision talking about their vision specifically, I'd rather say that I do not believe that shareholder activism is only a positive step. It has got cons of its own. And this is the increasing interference that it is creating in the company. And it is also often due to ulterior motives of the shareholder activists, because they increasingly want power in the company, and they know that with their power and vote of many people behind them, with the support that they have from the people, they mainly can influence the complete decision. Rather, talking about if their vision can be connected through participatory methods, if that is social media what you're talking about, then yes, it can be enhanced and it can be improved upon. But then lastly, I'd just say, to conclude it with, that I'd rather believe shareholder activism can be on a better path if they understand that their mission should not only be to enhance the company's interest, but also the betterment of the society as such. So with that, I'll conclude. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nishant, for addressing the question. If there's any more questions, they are welcome. Okay, so yeah, we got the answer. Yeah, so if anyone has any more questions which we cannot fit within this meeting, feel free to contact any of the organizations through the different links that have been mentioned, the different social media platforms. And with this, I conclude the meeting. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.